Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Kevin Kreuter with Youth for Christ, and I have with me today Katherine Loans, one of our campus life directors, and we're excited to bring you this May update for Youth for Christ ministry here in Indian River County. So, Katherine, we just recently had a wonderful event for our students that I think is probably among the events that we have, it's one they look forward to the most. Would you say that?
Oh, definitely.
All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about our annual laser tag building time?
Yeah, absolutely. Laser tag is always a great one. The students just absolutely love it. It's a middle school event and a high school event. We do separate them so they don't play at the same time because that would not go well. But yeah, absolutely one of the most look forward to events of the year. They have such a good time. We rent out laser tags. We play at Central Assembly in their sanctuary that gets cleared out. There's obstacles set up. It's dark, great music playing. It is a great event to build memories.
Yeah. And so I love our philosophy when it comes to building times. So we try to host building times once a month throughout the school year. And building times are one of our relational ministry actions, one of those things that helps to facilitate relational ministry, relational evangelism between our leaders and our students. And Katherine, can you talk a little bit about how that plays into our overall philosophy? Like, why do we do building times and what is the outcome of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Building times are something that I think on the surface doesn't seem super important, but when you're actually trying to build a relationship with a student, it makes all the difference sometimes, especially with boys, actually. Like I have had so many times where like a kid just won't open up to me or we won't really get deep in conversation in the context of a normal club, but then they'll come to a movie night and I'll get to sit next to them and have a conversation, or we'll get to play a game of laser tag together, right? We get to be competitive. We like to play a game together, whatever it is, right? Or even just like sharing a meal with them at building time can be really significant in just breaking through to the next part of that relationship where they want to get to know you on a deeper level. They want to share their life with you a little bit more. So doing something fun with them really makes all the difference because they want to have fun. They want to play games. They want to do these fun things. So building times are really huge for that, especially in those kids that just you haven't gotten super deep with. It can really change the relationship.
Yeah. And we're thankful to Central Assembly for hosting this event, and they do that each year, and it's just a wonderful blessing.
Yeah.
But even ones that aren't hosted at a church, and actually we have a couple events that are hosted at different churches, what have you seen as one of the benefits or some of the benefits that have come out of partnering with our church partners through these building times?
Yeah, so some benefits are that some kids that don't go to church on a regular basis are getting to be in a church. And for a lot of them, if they've never really been in a church before or haven't at all, it's kind of like breaking that barrier of like, oh, church is, like only for these kinds of people or that kind of people. And it's just like, I think it's good. It's a good environment for them to experience, especially if they haven't before. But it also, sometimes for our building times, we'll have youth groups go to that church join us, depending on what the event is. That can be really beneficial in getting kids plugged in if they don't have a youth group or if they don't have a home church, because they're getting to meet kids who are their age and who go to this church. They're building friendships. They're also getting to know leaders and people who are at that church usually. So they're building connection, but they're also in a different environment that I think is really good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that sometimes we are a little too reductionistic in the way in which we envision kids coming to faith in Jesus and getting plugged into the local church. We imagine that a student will come to a campus life club, they'll come to faith in Christ through that ministry, and then they'll get plugged into a local church for discipleship. And while all those pieces are ones that we want to enforce, sometimes it doesn't happen in that clear-cut linear fashion. Sometimes kids who are still seeking, who are just wrestling with it, who haven't yet said yes to Jesus, engage in a building time, build relationships with a youth pastor, some kids in a youth group, and start attending a youth group or even a church before they even come to faith in Jesus. And that church plays a large role then in their coming to faith as well. So it's a blessing to be able to see the body of Christ working together in the lives of kids in such ways. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, okay, if you had to pick which of our leaders gets most excited about laser tag?
Oh my goodness. Well, probably Glenn, actually.
Okay,
if I
yes.
had to pick. Yeah, probably Glenn. I think a lot of them enjoy it. They just love doing something fun with the kids. Like, I think for all of our building times, you're getting to do something fun, but laser tag is like so high energy and kind of chaotic in a sense, especially the middle school one.
Sure.
Yeah, so like usually the leaders who lean towards just like loving to run around and play games with kids, high energy things. And Glenn is one of those people. So probably Glenn, but plenty of our leaders enjoy it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And so if you, as an adult, miss those days when you got to play laser tag, you could come volunteer with Youth for Christ and get to do it again.
Come destroy a bunch of middle schoolers. It's fun.
At laser tag.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you for being a part of that event and helping kids have a great time, while also deepening relationships with leaders. So that's awesome. Well, we are at the end of the school year, at the end of our normal campus life rhythms, and we get to celebrate the journeys of some of our students who are graduating, some of which have been walking with us in campus life for a number of years. Yeah, and even some of our student leaders are going to be graduating. So I'd love for you to kind of just talk about some of the students graduating and the journeys that they've had with us, and just, yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of kids graduating this year from our clubs, and we also have a lot of kids who are student leaders who are graduating, which is bittersweet. Sure. Because a lot of them, like you said, have been part of club for years. There are multiple of them that I can think of that are graduating this year who have been in campus life since they were in 6th grade and have been student leaders all throughout high school. So it's really cool to see them like take this next step and graduate and go on to other things and just kind of really start their lives. But it's also sad because we're going to be missing kind of a chunk of our students who would come every week and who just served such a big role. Yeah, so it's interesting. It is very sad, but we're also really excited for them. So I would also encourage anybody watching this to be praying for them because they're all going off and doing different things. Some of them are staying here and continuing to work. Some of them are going to college here. Some of them are going away to college. Just lots of new change. Yeah.
So are there one or two students who you kind of just, when you think about them graduating this year and their history of engagement with YFC, things that you could just recall kind of how they've grown through this journey?
Yeah. The first one that comes to mind is Destiny, who, again, has been coming to campus life since she was in the 6th grade. Got really close with her leader, Libby, and just through that, started coming to church, started kind of exploring Christianity, was never, really firm in it until around high school, where she really started digging in and building a relationship with Jesus. And she just kind of transformed throughout campus life, which was such a beautiful thing to get to witness and experience. She also went to the youth group that I was at for a while. So getting to see her in that capacity, just grow and learn too, is so wonderful. And now she's a senior, and she is she has matured so much, and she has come such a long way. She is so sweet and so kind, and I think is going to do just amazing things in her life. So she's one of the ones that comes to mind. We have another student at Charter named Christian. Christian and Jackson kind of come, in my mind, are together as a duo because they've been friends for a while, but also just have been in campus life for a very long time, have poured a lot of themselves and their time into campus life and into serving. Jackson has been really busy this year, which is understandable because he's a senior, but has just put so much work into building relationship with leaders and being mentored. And then Christian has also done the same, but he's also I've really seen him step up in club lately in this last senior year and lead other students well, which has been awesome. So we're definitely going to miss all of them.
Yeah, for sure. So please, as Katherine said, please join us in praying for our graduating seniors and our student leaders. At Youth for Christ, we do desire, of course, for students to come to faith in Jesus, and that's a wonderful moment that we celebrate. But our goal is really to make lifelong followers of Jesus. And so our deep desire is to see all these students that we've had the privilege of working with and walking alongside, to see them continue on in their faith journey, to continue to serve the Lord, to grow into the men and women that He's called them to be, and to be able to celebrate with them the milestones of their life as they continue to follow Jesus in adulthood. And so we would absolutely appreciate your prayers for our students, whether it's the specific ones that Katherine mentioned or just in general. The Lord knows who they are, and we appreciate your prayers for them. So, Well, Catherine, just because the school year comes to an end and campus life pauses until the fall, ministry certainly doesn't stop. And so we do, we talked last month with Glenn about some of the ways in which leaders are continuing relationships over the summer. But of course, the biggest things that we got going on over the summer are our two camps. And so while Catherine participates in both our high school camp and our middle school camp, she's actually the trip lead for our middle school camp. And so can you tell us a little bit about where are we going and what's it like, and paint the picture for our audience?
Yeah, middle school camp is incredible. I love both. I love middle school camp and high school camp, and I might be biased because I've been going to middle school camp for years, but it is an incredible camp. So we always use Southwind, which is one of Young Life's properties that is in Ocklawaha, Florida, which nobody has ever heard of every single time I say that, but it's near Ocala. It's like central Florida. Yeah, it's an incredible property. We have a bunch of YFC chapters that band together, bring all of their middle school students, so many leaders. It's just an incredible team every single year. We have an incredible team of staff and of volunteers that just make the camp run behind the scenes and as cabin leaders with students. And then middle school camp is always centered around giving them the gospel, because a lot of the kids that we bring are not believers or are unchurched and just don't know the gospel, don't know Jesus, don't have a relationship with him. So we always center around sharing leaders' stories and also presenting the gospel correctly to them and giving them a chance to respond. So it's an incredible week.
Nice.
A great time.
That's so awesome. It's definitely high energy, lots of fun. One of the things I think I appreciate most about the middle school camp is, while everything's top notch, the facilities are top notch, the programming is top notch, the content in the big room times, everything is top notch. You also have the games. Those are always exciting and fun and adventurous and sometimes very messy. But what I love seeing also throughout the week of camp are all of the little meetings, the moments, the one-on-one appointments between leaders and students. And so that is a significant part of our year-round campus life ministry. And that same philosophy, that same ministry engagement happens at camp as well. And so carving out that space allows students to process with their leaders what the Lord is revealing to them and doing in their lives in the midst of all that's going on in camp. And not all camps do this. And oftentimes it's in those moments of talking with leaders that things get crystallized and worked through and explained better and just to help make sense for the student, and they have that opportunity again to respond to the gospel. So anyway, that's my personal one of my favorite things about camp.
Those one-on-one appointments are incredible, and I have had, like I said, I've been to middle school camp for many years now. I'm always a cabin leader, and always at the beginning of the week we let them know that we're going to have a one-on-one appointment with them. That is the most incredible way to build a relationship with a student that I've ever experienced. It's crazy what one-on-one appointment at camp can do. And every single time when we get there and I tell them, hey, at some point during the week, I'm going to pull you aside and we're going to grab an ice cream and just talk about life and talk about things. They're like, oh no, therapy, I don't want to do that. I've gotten that response many times. And then every single time you sit down with them, it is incredible what God can do. So yeah, those one-on-one appointments are huge and a really important part of camp.
Amen. That's awesome. Yeah. We talk about camp. I mean, I know there's so many different camps. There's, Christian camps that people send their kids to. There's church camps. There's denominational camps. There's all kinds of camps. One of the things that I love about YFC camp is it is not disconnected from the rest of the ministry that we do year-round. It is a continuation. And so the students who our leaders have been investing in throughout the year at campus life, those are the students with all the seeds planted who get to go to camp where God brings fruit from what's been planted. And a lot of the leaders who serve in campus life throughout the year and have that relational equity are the ones that are there on campus, at the camp, to be able to have those moments with students. And so relationships take steps forward, fruit comes from the seeds planted, and even those students who don't make a decision for Christ at camp, you know, the value of that time at camp continues on in the fall when campus life begins again and those relationships continue to move forward. And so we really value camp. You know, the saying is camp is, you know, where things change, right? Because God never seems to fail to bring transformation in that space. And so we know that many of you who are watching have supported our camp ministry in the past, and maybe even for this year. We rely on the generous gifts of partners like you to be able to send kids to camp. Because the reality is that most of the students that we work with need at least a partial, if not a full scholarship in order to participate in camp at all. And we don't ever want a student to not participate in camp and not have that opportunity to be engaged by the Lord in that way because of finances. And so we just encourage you, if you would like to help to support a kid in getting to camp this year, if you're able to provide even a partial or if not a full scholarship to help kids get to camp this year, we encourage you to do that. And we'll put information in the description below. But going on our website, you're able to give right there toward camp. And every dollar that gets given will be toward that end. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And Katherine, thank you for being here with me today. We're excited about what God has done this school year, and we are expectant that the Lord is going to do mighty things this summer. So please pray for our students, pray for our staff and volunteers, and please help kids get to camp. We thank you so much for tuning in today. God bless you.